Hello and a very warm welcome along to Sportsbet TV with me, Paul Alster. I am looking forward to some really tremendous racing across Britain on Saturday, the 17th of September. If you just happen to be new, just discovering me for the first time, please press the red subscribe button just below this screen and you'll be able to stay in touch with my free selections, which are going to be here for the foreseeable future here at Sportsbet TV. Well, of course, last week was overshadowed by the loss of Her Majesty the Queen, and the racing was postponed, and they eventually ran the races on Sunday. But although conditions were slightly different to the ones anticipated, I think we have to consider the three selections I made as standing. And so they all ran with mixed results. Crispy Cat, 17-2 recommended. Well, he was third in the Group 2 Flying Childers Stakes at Doncaster. So each way, he showed us a slight profit, but the other two didn't really do the business for us last weekend. That's the way it goes, as we know, when we're tipping horses that are not towards the head of the market. Abel Kane was really well backed, Rod Millman's horse, 6-1 down to 7-2, but he ran a stinker, very out of character. Let's hope he bounces back. And the other horse, Mollywood, Dylan Cooner's runner, well, it was clear right from the start, I could see he was hating the ground. And that was just a tear up your ticket straight away. He was never going to figure. So we'll maybe look out to give him another chance somewhere down the line. It actually was only the second time in the last 9 occasions of tipping days that we haven't made a profit. Things have been pretty good of late, but as you know, it's all about slide ups, slide downs, big ups and big downs. Well, it is a big day this Saturday, and I'm tipping for you at Ayr and at Newmarket. Surprisingly, despite looking for quite some time, I couldn't find anything I really fancied on the Millreeve card at Newbury. But there are 5 selections for you, so plenty to get your teeth into, and they're all decent prices. And I'm going to start off with the very first race at Ayr on Saturday, the 120, which is the Mile Handicap. Now, this is the former Strathclyde Handicap, a race that has happy memories for me because I actually had a share in the winner, believe it or not, back in 1984. That was Mount Tumbledown, who took it up far too early on soft ground, went clear, and in the end was all out to hold on by about a neck, but hold on he did. And that was a very happy memory for me, being at the track at Ayr, leading him in on Ayr Gold Cup Day back in 1984. It's quite a while, isn't it? Anyway, this year, 14 runners. The going is good to soft in places. Or at the time of this recording, which is on Friday morning at 11:15, and I think they're expecting good weather, so it could easily dry out to be good all round. Now, Revich for the Richard Spencer stable won this race last year off a £3 lower mark. He hasn't won so far in 5 attempts this year, but he's run some good races, including when a close third to Orban in the Golden Mile at Goodwood in late July. Koi represents George Bowie. He's probably 7-2 favourite last time I looked, and he won over a mile at Newmarket on good to firm ground in July off 93 and was third at Newbury last time out. Grant Tew has been doing well this season. He's a trainer that tends to go under the radar. He's got one called Dirty Old Town, who was a close second last week at the Doncaster St Ledger meeting. That was over 7 furlongs, and he stayed on well. Gone up £2, but the way he finished suggests the mile should be fine for him. And good old What's the Story for Keith Dalgleish. Well, he's a course and distance winner. He won a 4-runner race at the track last time out, has gone up £5. On his day, when he's in the mood, he's a very useful performer, but I think this is a tougher task than certainly he faced last time. Now, my choice here is a horse called Guido. He's trained by Katie Scott in the Border Country and is the mount of high-flying Jason Hart, who can do no wrong at the moment. And this Guido is a horse who's been doing really well for the small Katie Scott stable. That's having a record season. He's a 5-year-old who's won 8 of his 35 races and been placed a further 9 times. So effectively, he's hitting the frame at least 50% of his starts. And he was showed he was in form last time out when second at Musselburgh over 7 furlongs, which is just a little bit sharp for him. He is better at a mile, and he's also better at Ayr. He won over the course and distance in July off a mark of 83. He's now £5 higher. Indeed, at Ayr, he's got a great strike rate of 4 from 9. He won 3 times at the track last year, 2 of them over the course and distance. He was beaten a half a length over 7 furlongs at this very meeting in 2020. And his horse, who does tend to save his best form for August and September. If you check out the statistics, he's a kind of late summer, early autumn horse. So I'm expecting him to build on his latest good effort. Now, also, it's significant that Jason Hart has ridden the horse twice at Ayr, and he's won both times on him. So he and Guido really get on well on the west coast of Scotland. It's also ideally suited by tracking a strong pace. And with likely pace setters, What's the Story and Koi Koi sure to go off at a good clip, I think he's going to have everything in his favour. Now, Jason Hart, riding for Katie Scott, has a 19% strike rate. That's 11 winners from 59 rides, and that's pretty good for a small yard. And I'm seeing Guido, at the time of this recording, Friday morning, as a kind of general 12 to 1 each way. 5 places are offered if you have an account with Sky Bet, the rest of 4. But the 5 places with Sky Bet looks great value. And Guido is the one I'm hoping is going to get us off to a flying start on Saturday at Ayr at 1:20. And then just over an hour later, it's the Ayr Silver Cup, which, of course, is the consolation race for the Gold Cup that's going to be run later on at 3:40, and in which I have a selection. Now, of course, we'll probably know more about the draw after racing on Friday, because the Bronze Cup is going to be run. But having watched the racing on Thursday, there was a 5 furlong sprint handicap with a bit field, and I didn't really notice any particular bias across the track. I suppose middle to far side was slightly ahead, but that was over 5 furlongs, and this could be very different now they're tackling the 6. And this is a really wide open race, the Ayr 230, the Silver Cup. Last time I looked, they're betting 8 to 1 the field, with Tim Easterby's Snash, who won the Ayr Gold Cup trial over course and distance in July, off a £2 lower mark, the 8 to 1 favourite. Now, he was slowly away in the Great St Wilfrid handicap at Ripon last time out when he finished 6th, but he should be thereabouts. But an example of how open it is the only horse offered at less than 12 to 1. So it's one of those races, as we know, these big handicap sprints at Ayr, you pay your money, you take your chance. Now, I'm not going to go through all the horses that could go well here. But as I say, I do think that the draw will even itself out, because although the low to middle numbers appear to be favoured on Thursday, that was in a 5 furlong race, and that extra furlong makes a lot of difference, as we found out last year. Now then, remember, of course, that over the course and distance last year, I tipped the winner of the Ayr Gold Cup against many of the stats in Bielsa, who came alone on the standside rail out of stall 25. So it can be done to run off the middle to high draws and go very well. Now, Abarama Gold is drawn 22. He's a horse that's got a good record at Ayr with 1 win and 3 places from 5 attempts, and he was 5th of 24 in this race in 2020, which actually is the only time he hasn't technically been placed, although I'm sure most punters would have been paid out each way because of the big field. Now, he's been beaten ahead and a half a length in his last 2 runs here over the course and distance in 2022. So I think he should go well. He's also £4 better off with Snash. And I think he's a horse who is going to be knocking on the door. But I'm pretty confident in my eventual choice, which is Devil's Angel, a grey trained by Jed O'Keefe and the mount of PJ McDonald. He should be easy to spot. And he's actually drawn in stall 9. He's won 8 of his 31 places and been placed a further 7 times. So rather like Guido in the opener, he's got a just about 50% place strike rate. He's having a good season too. He won at Sandown over 5 furlongs in June, and then he won in August at Haydock over 6 furlongs off a mark of 80, where he beat the difficult to pronounce Asad Jumeirah, who's now actually £6 better off at 2 1/4 lengths, but he beat him very, very easily. Last time out, Devil's Angel ran back at Sandown over 5 furlongs. He was just a touch slow out of the gate, and he came home really strongly into 5th going on at the finish, he wasn't beaten far at all. He's back over 6 furlongs. I think he's got a big chance at a course that he likes. And in my view, with luck in running, I think he should be very much on the premises. And at the time of this recording, 16-1 is offered each way for Devil's Angel. And that is a 6th place offer with the likes of Paddy Power, Betfred, Unibet, Betfair, Boyle Sports and Sporting Index. Remember to shop around, because by the time you see this, the odds might have moved. He may have drifted, or if he's been backed, you want to make sure you get the best possible place odds. But it's Devil's Angel for me, Ayr 230, with the danger, in my view, Aberama Gold out of stall 22. On to my third selection. On Saturday, Newmarket is the venue, and we're back on the Rowley Mile. The 241 is a 7 furlong handicap for 3-year-olds only. The going is good and there are 12 runners. Now, Sense of Power represents Godolphin's Charlie Appleby. His first time in a handicap, having been second twice on the all-weather, but he won his only start on turf at Newmarket. It was on the July course, and it was just a 4-runner maiden. He's been beaten odds-on since then. He's probably going to be favoured around the 3-1 mark, but we're kind of shooting in the dark here because there have been no odds posted at the time I'm recording this video, so I'm having to assess the market. Bellshot represents Charles Hills. This horse has won 2 of his last 3, both of them at Newbury over 7 furlongs in handicap company, and he's in good form, gone up £6 for his latest win to 85 and should be dangerous. And then you have Richard Hammond's Mount Kosciuszko, who's on a 4-timer. He's won this season at Windsor and Bath and also at Epsom, all of them over the mile, and the latest on heavy ground. He's up in class and has gone up £4, but I don't think he'll be far away. But I'm fancying a little bit of a surprise here, and the horse in question is called Chocker Empire. Trained by David Simcock, he's the mount of the excellent Hayley Turner. He's a 3-year-old gelding by Territories, and he's having his second run in a handicap. He's only had 3 runs in total, so this is a horse who is unexposed and is open to quite a lot of improvement, in my view. Now, he was off 10 months and was gelded before his most recent run, which was his handicap debut after only 2 starts. It was on the July course and on August the 27th, and he shaped with quite a lot of promise, I thought. Not at all knocked about. He was beaten 2 3/4 lengths into 5th by Space Trucker, and that was the first time he'd worn a hood, which is retained. Now, I'm pretty sure he's going to be better for that run, and he's been dropped £1 as well. I think he can improve. He needs to win this, but this is a horse who I think has learnt a lot from his run last time out. He has won in the past. He won on debut. Because there are 4 last time out winners in the race, I actually feel that he's going to be a fair price. Now, I originally marked him up at about 10-1, but I've been looking at the market movements. I think probably about 8-1 will be a fair price each way, but I may be underestimating it, might be overestimating it, but I'm sure he'll be a solid each way price. And I expect that even though there are only 12 runners, there'll be plenty of firms trying to get you business and offering 4 places. So look out for the 4 places, probably each way at 8-1 or better. And that is for Chocker Empire at Newmarket in the 241. Moving on to the 4th of my 5 choices for this Saturday, and this is at Newmarket in the 316 race. This is a 6 furlong handicap. There are 12 runners. It's good ground. Again, there's no betting, so I'm having to estimate the market. Now, Tom Clover's horse, Celsius, won at Ascot in April and at Newmarket in July. It was joint favourite last time out at Goodwood, but he ran really poorly, only 14th of 15. But he had a genuine excuse. He returned with an irregular heartbeat. So hopefully he's recovered from that. But he has only ever won at 5 furlongs, so I'm just a bit wary of the fact that he might not quite get home. Melly's Flyer for George Scott won at Kempton over 6 furlongs on February, and on the July course at Newmarket as well over 6 furlongs off 77. He's now £5 higher, but he ran really well at Epsom, went second last time. And there is the top weight, Prontissimo for Patrick Owens. He's been facing tougher tasks, I'd say, of late. And his last run certainly suggested that down to this class 4, he should go pretty well here. He's won last time he ran in class 4 company. That was at Ascot in September of last year, of £2 lower. So don't rule out Prontissimo. But I'm tipping a horse that I've tipped you before this season, and he showed us a profit. His name is Equiano Springs. He's trained by Tom Tate at Tadcaster in Yorkshire, and is the mount, of course, of Frankel's jockey, Tom Queally. Now, as I say, he did us a favour at 33-1, scraping into the each-way terms when 5th of 20 at York in July off 79. And since then, he's won at Newmarket on the July course off 76. He's a horse who's rock solid when conditions are right for him, and I believe they're absolutely spot on for him. On Saturday, he ran well last time out over 7 furlongs. He faded in the last half furlong, having led inside the final furlong. But the thing about this horse is that he loves the Rowley Mile track. He won this race last year off 77, and he also won this race in 2019 off 79. So I'm pretty convinced that having won this race 2 of the last 3 years, Tom Tate has been beating a path back through the form book in order to prepare his charge for a 3rd attempt at winning this race. And for me, he looks to have everything in his favour. Not only has he won the race 2 of the last 3 years, the last 2 times he's contested it, but he's actually unbeaten at the course and distance. He's 3 from 3. I think he's going to run a great race, Equiano Springs. I'm hoping he's going to be 5-1 or thereabouts each way. That is my guesstimate for his odds at Newmarket in the 316. A horse I really like, Equiano Springs, for Tom Tate and Tom Queally. And then I'll take you on to the final race for us this weekend. This is the Ayr Gold Cup. Now, what a cracking race this is. One of the great sprint handicaps. It's over 6 furlongs, 25 runners. The only horse in single figures at the time of this recording is the 4-1 favourite, a shorty, really, in this company. Kanjar, of course, if it's a big handicap, it's got to be William Haggis that has the favourite. And Jim Crowley is riding this one for the Shadwell Studs. He won first time out at Ripon in June off 85. He was a good 3rd at Newmarket after that. And he won a Haydock 6 furlong handicap in really good style off 95 last time out a couple of weeks ago. He's carrying £5 extra, so he runs off 100. Essentially, what we're saying is this could be a group horse disguised as a handicapper. But he's going to need all the breaks, and he's going to have to handle himself in the hurly-burly of a red-hot handicap sprint. He is drawn 5, which might not be a bad draw. We'll have to wait and see. But there's been so many favourites in this race over the years that have come there looking as if they have an outstanding chance and haven't done it. So I'll let him run at 4-1. He's not for me. Now, I've actually narrowed it down to 3 because I'm not going to go through them all. I've been burning the midnight oil if I look a bit peaky today. I was up till 1 o'clock looking at this race, and I've come up with 3 horses, and I've selected them without looking at the draw. I've simply selected them based on my reading of the form book. And as it turns out, they're all drawn centre to high. Well, the first of the 3 that I've come up with is Bielsa, who I tipped last year, trained by Kevin Ryan. He came under the stands rail all by himself. He defied all the logic of most tipsters who said you had to be drawn centre to low. And he went and won by over 2 lengths from stall 25. Now, it looks like he's been targeted at a repeat mission. And it has been done before. Remember, Funfair Wayne won for Kevin Keegan a couple of times in this race in the not too distant past. He's only £1 higher than last year. He's been 3rd in a Group 3 at Newcastle in June, and he was 5th of 7 in a red-hot listed race at Chester behind Elmo River, a race that has worked out really well. That was at the end of July. Now, he's drawn 17. He's had a bit of a break since that run at Chester. And I'm very optimistic that Bielsa is going to run very well. He's around a 10-1 chance. I'm sure he'll be thereabouts. Drawn 17. Now, the second of the 3 that I focus on here is Ed Walker's runner, Popmaster. He's been really progressive in handicap company the last 2 seasons. A poor run in this race in last year's race in 2021. And I think we can put that down to being tried in blinkers for the first time. which for me he clearly didn't like. Otherwise, he's been very consistent overall, including this season, when looking as if he was home and hosed, only to be run down close home by the high-class Rohan when second in the Wokingham handicap at Royal Ascot in June of '98. And on his most recent start, he was only beaten a length when he was fourth at Ascot off 100. He's drawn 23. I think he's got every chance, and he's around a 16-1 shot. So my reading of the form is that the horses I think are most likely to win are actually towards the centre to stand side. So there could be the pace there as well. Popmaster won't be far off the pace, I think. Bielsa can blaze away too. So I think that whatever happens in the Bronze Cup on Friday, there's every chance that the high numbers will go well. And that, I hope, is going to be the case for my selection, which is a horse called Motogali. Motogali is trained these days by Scott Dixon, who does really well with his sprinters. He specialises in sprint handicappers, and he's the mount of Dale Swift, a jockey that doesn't tend to hit the highlights very often, but you may remember him back in the day riding the terrific top-notch Tonto for Brian Ellison and finishing second on him in the QE2 stakes. He's a very capable jockey when the horse is good enough. Now, Motogali was trained for most of his career by Charles Hills, and he actually ran in the Ayr Gold Cup last year and was fourth of 24. And that was at 33-1 in this race last year. He ran an absolute blinder for Charles Hills. Now, he was off for nearly 11 months and obviously had an issue, then joined Scott Dixon in August, as recently as August the 9th. And he certainly needed the run when his first start was in the Beverley Bullet, which is a red-hot listed race at Beverley on August the 27th. He showed up okay, but he just got very, very tired at the end of the race. But he turned out last week in the Portland Handicap, which, of course, you'll know is over 5.5 furlongs, not 6. And he ran very well indeed. He finished 5th of 19, staying on well in the closing stages to Chipstead. And with this extra half a furlong, and with that race probably having put him spot on with the ground ideal, and I'm hoping the draw is going to be no real disadvantage, I think he's going to go very, very well. Now, when I chose this horse last night in the early hours of the morning, I noticed that, first of all, William Hills and Unibet were only 12-1, where some of the others were much bigger. Indeed, I got on at 25-1 last night, but this morning, Friday morning, 16-1 is the very best you'll find. And I think there's a bit of a word going around for Motogali. He's an unfashionable trainer, Scott Dixon, but he can do the business. And this is a horse who's run well at the track and in this race in the past. I think he's handicapped to run a big race. He's 16-1 each way. And there's an offer of 7 places at the time of this recording with Sky Bet. So 7 places each way, 16-1, Motogali. It might be but that closer to the off. Whatever move there has been for the horse will dry up and his odds might drift out to 20-1 plus again. So it's up to you whether you want to step in now or wait and try and take a chance nearer the race itself. So let's see if we can do it 2 years running in the Gold Cup at Ayr. Motogali is my choice. He is the last of my 5 selections here at Sportsbet. Now, I've been training for quite some time that we're going to have a very special new service to offer you, and that is going to be coming up very soon indeed. You'll be receiving a message about this, and it's going to be a really high quality, low cost tipping service from me, Paul Alster, and it's going to be in real time. So you'll be able to communicate with me and send me your messages and make your comments. There are very few tipsters, if any others, that are prepared to put themselves out there and kind of meet the public in real time. But I'm more than happy to hear whatever you have to say and to give you the benefit of my years of experience, and also look at things that are of particular interest to you. So that's something coming up, and I'll be giving more tips through the week as well as over the many festivals and at the weekend. So that is something to really look forward to, and I hope you're going to continue to follow me on that in the future. I will continue to offer going forward selections here at Sportsbet, not quite so many, but I will still pledge to offer you at least one free tip every weekend going forward. Let's hope these 5 give us something to shout about this coming Saturday And I wish you, of course, the very best of luck. Bye-bye for now.